Good morning, kitten.
Hello, Eddie.
Good morning, Augie. Good morning, Ollie.
Hello and welcome back to Art Therapy with Jenn. Today I'm doing a mixed media art journal page in my Dilutions journal. And I hadn't broken out this journal in quite a while on camera, so I thought it'd be fun to get in there and have fun and do a page. I was kind of going through some things and I thought, what better way is to just get in there and use a whole bunch of supplies, tell a story, just have fun with it. That's what art journaling is to me anyway. It just gets your mind off things and lets you be creative, and you just have fun with it. So starting on the left there with this horse, of course. I cannot tell you how many times the theme song from Mr. Ed went in my head when I was gluing this. But anyway, I think he was from a jewelry ad, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I honestly don't remember. And then the girl on the right there that I'm gluing, some of y'all may remember her from my witchy journal. I used another image of her as the collector in my witchy journal, and she's from a free clothing catalog. And then on the bottom there, it's an image of a girl riding a horse. So I thought they kind of all went together pretty well, and that's kind of my jump off point. I'm also going to be adding this image here of the lavender blossoms, and then in a moment I'm going to be fussy cutting this flower jewelry pendant thing to add to the horse's necklace there to kind of cover up that little beige fringy thing that I just wasn't digging as much. So now he's got a pretty pendant necklace, as he should. And I was just really feeling purple on this page, so kind of went with it. So I let everything dry, and now I'm going in with gesso just to prime all those still exposed parts of the page for when we go back in and start adding the paint and all the other materials that I'm going to put on there. It just makes the page sturdier, and it just really primes it to be able, for paints to be able to blend and not really soak in and so forth. And, especially I'm using really cheap paints in this page, so it makes the cheap paints work a little better. And one nice thing with the magazine being such glossy, paper, if I get any gesso where I don't want it to go, I just kind of take my finger and push it off of there. So, see there, we got our nice blank canvas there, and I let that completely dry before I broke out some paints. So I'm going to be using these 3 shades of purple and some white. And I just have a piece of paper over there, and I just put little globs out of each, and I'm just taking my finger and mixing them up. And I do apologize that we're already a little ways in with getting that background down. I thought I was filming, and it wasn't. So, but I'm just literally taking those different purples and with the whites and mixing them in varying degrees, and with my finger just going around the page and just playing around till I get it where I want it. But it was one of those weird times where thought I was filming, looked up, sure wasn't. And I just love this finger painting part. One of these days, I would love to sit down and just really play around with brushes and learn the different effects you can get with different type of brushes. But I just like using my fingers sometimes. I know what it can do, and with these cheaper paints, craft paints, it works pretty well. And yeah, I'm just going around and putting that paint until I feel good about it. And this paint dries very fast, so I have to work extremely fast before that starts drying. So here's what it looks like. That starts our base, and that we're going to add everything else on top of. So the time I was making this page, and even up until now, I'm just starting to come out of it. been total funk. Like, I think the analogy that I've seen that really resonates to me is like you only have so many spoons through the day. And y'all, my spoons have been in negative status for a little while. And sometimes I just find it very helpful to just write things out. So I'm going along with a Sharpie, and I am just writing down whatever comes to mind. And it doesn't even have to like if you don't want anybody to see it or whatever, you don't even have to write it to where the words are legible. It can just look like writing, but there's just something about just putting that down, and just putting it on the page and just letting it be there. It's like you get it out of your system, you feel better afterwards, and it adds a nice element to the page. And I need to do this more often. I used to do this quite a lot in my first collage journal I ever made way back. I think I have a flip through of it on the channel. If I do, I'll link it. It has like a cat on the cover and my name. And I did that a lot. I was going through a lot of stress then as well. And especially this last quarter of the year, it's been rough, y'all. I hope to be back on social media like Instagram and stuff more soon. Just is not happening right now. And to be honest with y'all, I don't even remember what I was writing about, because the writing is actually mostly going to get covered up in a moment, which is totally fine. Like, I know it's there. I know I felt what I needed to feel, and that was fine. And I used the Sharpie with this. I used a flare pen, and I went through with some white gel pens that would barely write and just made scratches. So that we have, I like to use 3 different sizes of things, like I've said before. And yeah, we just got that stuff out. Just got it out. So now we're going in with some more paint. I have the gray, the white, and the yellow. And I just felt like I wanted some yellow to go with the purple. And the purple is completely dry, so they're not going to mix and make mud or anything. And I'm just going around and mixing them as I see fit. And I thought I would break out the stencils as well, because I've seen these people on Instagram. I'm trying to think who. It might have been... I want to think her Instagram handle is Lisa. I'll try to find it. I haven't been on Instagram in a little while, other than to watch reels. But she does this thing where she puts the paint down and then she wipes up the stenciling, so it kind of like reverse stencils, if that makes sense. But I didn't have any baby wipes. All I had was crappy paper towels, and it didn't work too good. So I ended up just getting this really stiff bristled brush that I had and dry brushing it through the stencils on there, just to create kind of a wisp of an effect. And that worked pretty well, keeping the brush very dry. And I really like the little highlight that the yellow added. And I have these stencils. I need to break them out more. I just honestly, it's not something that I gravitate toward first. I did that whole thing when you discover, like when you're watching YouTube and stuff, and you discover all these other people and they use different techniques than you and different supplies than you. And, I was like, I'm a clearance bargain hunting fool, especially back then. And I would find all these art supplies on clearance for next to nothing. And I bought all these, stencils and paints and stuff. And I need to use them more, because half the time I just break out magazine and a glue stick, and I'm good with that. But it was fun. I got to try stuff out. Now I know what I really like to do and what I don't. So, and that I'm taking like this filigree, is that what you call it, type of pattern. And I also did, you can see there, the gray with that, just to add some more interest there. And you have to be very careful with that gray, because if you add too much, it just muddies stuff up. I don't know what it is about that gray. And now I broke out some of these permanent inks. Now these aren't the ones that are water reactive. And I had a little fell there, if y'all saw. I tried to do it straight from the ink pad like I've done with other ones, and did not work. So I broke out these really old makeup sponges that I got from Dollar Tree like 6 years ago. They're like yellow, but you know what? They do the job. So I just went in there and I started adding that same stencil that I did the gray with in the pink ink. And this is an archival ink, so it is not reactive. Once it dries, it's on there. So it's what I wanted to use because I didn't want it to start muddying up as I layered stuff up, because I had a lot of stress to work out and I was determined to use lots of supplies, y'all. Y'all know I like to throw everything but the kitchen sink at my pages a lot of times. And then now I got my the black ink in the same type of ink, and I got this hexagonal, almost honeycomb type pattern, and I wanted to add like kind of like stripes across the page, but with these stencils, so just to kind of draw your eye across the page some. I just added some to the middle and then the top and bottom right corners there, just to add interest. And now, you know, I like a border, so I'm going around with that same ink and just making a smoked out blackened border around the edges, just to frame it real nice. I love making these borders. Y'all have seen me do them with Sharpie, paint, pen. So now we got ink. And then I'm breaking out my trusty whiteout just to do some highlights. So let's take a look at how it's shaping up so far. Digging it. And now I'm going to break out these stamps that I haven't taken out in a long time. These are just stamps that have all the letters of the alphabet. I have uppercase and lowercase in there, I think, and numbers. I got these ages ago, y'all. I want to think on AliExpress. When I was doing videos finding bargains and stuff way back, and everybody was really, you know, hyped up about AliExpress. And so I got these for like next to nothing. I had to wait like 3 months on them. Not the best quality, but they are fun to break out in times like this. And the bottom there, I just added the word connection. So now I'm adding a magazine clipping there. It says hold out for something rewarding. And then I'm going to glue down imagine this. And I'm playing around with some placement there, but we're going to have it starts with, and then I'm going to take a marker and actually make an A and then wake up call. So it's going to say it starts with a wake up call. Yep, there I added my little A. And then I'm going to go around with the whiteout, and I'm just going to randomly outline some of those little black honeycomb or hexagonal shapes that I did with that stencil earlier, just to kind of break it up a little bit, because it was just looking a little flat to me. And this is totally a maximalist type of page, so no minimalism, no white space here. Unless I add it on with whiteout. I'm just really on a kick with it lately. Sometimes I just get certain supplies and I just start using them like crazy. So I broke out my letters again, and I wanted to add a little more to that. So to the top there, I'm adding always A. I need to use my stamps more. I just find it so tedious, y'all. I don't enjoy it. That's one supply I really have to be in the mood for. Oh, and I'm adding new to the bottom. So all the stamped letters are going to say always a new connection. So now I'm going to break out some of these metallic and kind of like duochrome holographic-y type paints. So the pink one, the pink flash one, it flashes, I want to think maybe pink to purple. And then I have one that does blue to silver maybe. They're quite transparent, and so I'm putting them over top of the little black hexagonal shapes from the stencil, as well as just highlighting like that flower and everything. So the color underneath still shines through, but when it moves in the light, you just get this really cool, like, chrome colored, like, magic on there. So I think the paints are actually called Opal Magic, so it's like a opalescent goodness on there. And these are fun. This is another item I saw, and I got on a really good sale, and I just wanted to try them, and they add so much to pages, so I really need to use them more. And you can kind of see the light coming off there a little bit on some of those shapes. They just really shine, and it just adds a really nice fantasy element. And I think they're mainly, like, the purpose of them, or what I've seen, like, on the company's YouTube channel and stuff, they use them on very textured, very, like, chunky mixed media art pages with, like, keys and, you know, just with this texture, and they would just be wonderful on texture. So now I'm breaking out this copper paint, and I'm just making some little flourishes around, adding some details, having fun with it, because I'm not really sure what I want to make yet, and I'm just kind of filling it out. So now I'm going back to my go-to that I really like to do. It's just kind of these curly vines that I do across my pages that I just find such joy in. And something I was reading the other day, it really tripped me out. It was one of those, like, this plant or flower or whatever represents you, and I can't remember if it was astrological or personality type, you know, one of those type of things. And it said vines and ivy, and I thought, well, that fits. Makes sense. We used to have English ivy growing all up the back of our house for a long time, and it was one of my favorite things. And I'm not even allergic to poison ivy, so I don't have an aversion to ivy. But anyway, I'm just going around, and I'll end up doing 2 coats on these vines, because while this kind of coppery gold is more opaque than those shifting paints I put on earlier, it's not quite opaque enough to me in 1 coat. So, but it dries pretty fast, so I'll be going around pretty quick and putting those on. And I'm using a brush. It's a very thin detail brush, and I think it was from back when I used to do nail art. So I think it's a nail art brush, which I'm sure is like the same thing. I don't know. If you get into fancy painting, it isn't, but I don't know. And now I'm just going back through and adding some more shiny, shimmery things, because my horse is magical. And let's take a look at how it's looking so far. I think that added just a fun element. So now we're going to go back in, and I'm going to take a pen and outline all those vines. And this is a black gel pen that just writes amazing. That is actually from Dollar Tree. Pro Marks it might be, or Pro Max, I can't remember. But it is not left-hander friendly, so it is a very slow drying gel pen. It puts down a lot of ink. It puts down a very smooth line. But if you're left-handed like I am, the whole side of your arm is going to be all marked up. So I don't know if it shows on here, but I definitely had black marks all up my arm. So it was worth it, though. It was for the art, y'all. But I just have fun with it. And, you know, like I've said before, this is one of my favorite parts. It's just kind of like mindless doodling. You just have fun with it, and it kind of reminds me back when I was a kid and I get really stressed and I would just do a whole bunch of spirals on a page, or I would draw a tree and I would just make these branches branching out endlessly to do the whole page, and or like geometric shapes, and just fill up a whole page. And this kind of brings me back to that, and I really enjoy it. And I was going around and outlining them and then doing some marks in the vines themselves just to add some more detail. And why not, right? It's kind of like one of those things you just keep wanting to add little details. And I'm also going around and outlining like the girl and the words, and it's kind of like in your house when you redo one room and then the rest of the rooms look mess and you have to go redo the other rooms. And it's kind of what this is. Like, I just have to keep adding little marks on everything because that's just how it's going to be. It's actually been a little while since I've done this page. I'm actually filming this voiceover on Christmas Eve, so I hope everybody had an amazing Christmas. We opened presents and did all of our stuff today, and it was great. So it's been a little while since I've done this page, so it's also neat for me rewatching it, almost like y'all are watching it for the first time. Just been going through it, y'all, and we're finally starting to come out of it. And it's just neat to see, and I love to see the little magic of it, which I reckon was its purpose, because I did this right when everything started to just go, as we say where I'm from, go to pot. That's what we say. Goes to the pot. But anyway, now I'm taking the gel pen and I'm just adding, I wanted to add some like just lines across, just to add another texture on there, because we need more, always more. And I really like these straight lines. Oh, and there's Mr. Ollie. I don't know if y'all have seen in my intros, I do have a new member of the family, Mr. Ollie. He's an orange cat. As of the time I'm voicing this over, we've had him almost 8 weeks, so he came up in my yard and he'd been bullied by the other cats and just kind of made an instant connection with him. I did not expect to bring in another cat because, you know, I had 2 cats die last year, or it might have been year before last. Oh my gosh, was it 2018 or 2019? Oh, my brain's so fried, y'all. But I brought Eddie in after that, and, you know, I was good with that. And, you know, here we are over a year later. So I guess it was 2018. Y'all forgive me. And, you know, he came by and he fits in well, and we've gotten him, you know, all his tests, all his vaccines, and his, you know, surgery and everything to get fixed. And he's all good to go now, all healed up, and didn't have any diseases that would prevent him being around my cats. And yeah, so y'all will be seeing him in the intros from now on. He's a mess, bless his heart. Now I'm going around and adding more details with my little whiteout pen. I mean, he's young. He's like 9 months, so he's not even fully grown. So he's precious. He's a little wild, but they all are at that age, and he's just so sweet. So now I'm going around and doing a little more outlining, just adding more details. Y'all know I like my gel pen. And I also did a little heart in whiteout on the image that has the girl and the horse there. But we've had him in for a little while. He definitely gets into everything. I think I got spoiled when I brought in Eddie, because he just took to everything. Like, I put him in the litter box once. He was litter trained. He has always understood no. Like, I'm making up for it now, but it's great. So I'm just adding the last little details there. I'm outlining the girl with the horse, and this is going to have the finished page, y'all. So let's take a closer look. So what I went with this is kind of showing where everything can be a new connection. So you can plan things out, you can think you can get in a rut, but you're always going to come across something else in your life that kind of sparks a new connection. Like it says there, you know, it says always a new connection, starts with a wake-up call, imagine this, and hold out for something rewarding. So it's kind of a reminder to myself in this whole theme of there is always going to be something around the corner. It may not feel like it, and you may get in a rut, or you may have the best laid plans and have, like, you know, your next however long mapped out and all these amazing things that you want to do. And I mean, you got to be prepared. Life is going to come at you, and it's very easy to get in a rut, and you just need to keep believing that there's going to be a new connection come along. And in this page, it was this girl and this horse, and maybe she had a dream that had to do with her riding horses or owning a business to do with horses, or, you know, something different than what she was doing. And something came along one time and she was like, this is how I'm going to do it. And, or maybe she was looking for a passion in her life, and she came across a horse and it just clicked with her. And so she had like a wake up call. She held out for something rewarding. And then in the bottom, she's riding this horse, and it finally all makes sense. And so that's what this page is about. Just trying to remember, like, definitely for me too, that this is going to pass and there's going to be something new. So don't just settle to stay in a rut or be stuck in something that doesn't fulfill you in some way, no matter what that may be. Always keep imagining, keep dreaming, and be open that it may not take the form that you think it will, if that makes sense. I think we all need a little bit of magic in our life, something to do with, you know, our passions and what have you, and just to remember that the storm will pass. So that's for me too. I'm just now getting to the point where I can like edit videos again, which thankfully I had quite a few already set up to go, so that's why there wasn't any interruption with content. But definitely the last quarter of 2020 has been a challenge and a trial, but we're getting there. There's going to be a new connection soon. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all had a great Christmas. I hope y'all have a fabulous New Year. I think we're all ready to put 2020 in our rear view. And again, thank y'all so much for watching my little art channel, hanging out with me while I throw all these materials at the page. Y'all are awesome, and I'm gonna get to catching up on comments and hopefully posting more on Instagram soon, and getting everything back together other than just existing. I've only had the spoons to pretty much go to work and do necessary life things, so we're getting there. So thank you all so much. Again, I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all soon in 2021 with the next video. Bye guys.